Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. What a joke! Absolutely not true. I object. What a marketing scam. It's like Valentine's Day. For most of my life as a chef, breakfast consisted of a double espresso on my way to the kitchen every morning, which made me feel like an anxious hippopotamus most of the day. Breakfast does set the tone of the day. So in this video, we're gonna show you 5 recipes that come together in under 10 minutes during the week, after a bit of prep on Sunday. Let's get stuck in. So straight off the bat, if this bag of bones intimidates you, do not worry. There is something for everyone here. If you just want one of these dishes or you want them all, but we are gonna make a bone broth. So I've got chicken frames and chicken wings. Frames are there for flavor, wings are there for collagen, and they'll help thicken the broth. I'm gonna put them into the oven at 220 degrees and roast them till they're really dark and golden color. And if you want this dish, but you can't be bothered making the stock or you don't have the space, you live in a small apartment, you can buy pretty good bone broth in the shops these days as well. So you probably would have noticed that there was no oil or salt on those bones, and that's really important. There's enough fat in those chicken bones to render out and keep them nice and golden, and there's no salt on them because we're gonna turn it into a broth or a stock. Be really careful how much salt we're using in broths and stocks, because if you reduce them too much, they get too salty. For aromats, for our bone broth, we're just gonna char an onion and some ginger. Put a rack over your gas hob and put the stuff on top of it. We want to get some good dark color here. If you do not have a gas hob and you've only got electric, just use like a cast iron or a carbon steel pan. No oil in the dry pan will do the same thing. Our bones are nicely cooked and brown, golden. Pull this whole tray out. I'm gonna cook my bone broth in one of these, which is an old school pressure cooker. I love these things. It's gonna make the amount of time that it takes to cook a lot less. If you don't have one of these, you can do it in a normal pot. It'll take about 3 hours. You could do it in a slow cooker overnight if you have one of those. Or you could even do it in one of those kind of Instapot electric versions of these. All we're gonna do is simply add all the bones, all that lovely stuff on the bottom. Don't worry, we will get that off. First of all, save all that chicken fat. You can use it for anything you would use lard for or oil for, you can use chicken fat for, and it is a delicious fat. Put this over the heat. We're gonna add about 1 liter of water and then just scrape all that goodness off the bottom. Really carefully pour all that liquid and goodness into your pot. Then cover the bones in more cold water. Then we're gonna add some garlic cloves, star anise, white peppercorn, cinnamon, our charred onion, and our charred ginger. We're gonna bring that to a simmer. Once it starts whistling, turn it down really low. We're gonna continue cooking it for about 45 minutes, turn the heat off, let it release naturally, and we'll come back to it then. If you're cooking it in a normal pot, bring it up to a light simmer and cook it for 3.5 hours. Next up, we're gonna make our own breakfast sausage. We're gonna use this on a couple of recipes and a couple of different formats, and it's one of my favorite things to do. You can be lazy here and just buy sausages and open them, but I think it is worth going the extra effort with this. It's not that hard either. In a dry pan, you're gonna add some fennel seeds and some white peppercorns, and you're gonna toast them reasonably hard. You don't want them black, but you want them to be nice and aromatic. In a small mortar and pestle, you can add a clove of garlic. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, you can just finely grate it, and you're gonna crush it down. Add your salt to the garlic as well. That's gonna help break it down. Then once your spices are nicely toasted, add those as well. So to a bowl, you're gonna add, I've got 500 grams of pork mince here, but you could use chicken mince, you could use lamb mince, you could use beef mince even if you really wanted to. A little bit of maple syrup for sweetness, and we're gonna add our little spice rub here. And the best tool to mix this in properly is these things. Good clean hands. You wanna really work it so that it's nicely mixed all the way through. You're also trying to not fully emulsify, but somewhat emulsify some of the pork fat that's naturally in it, or whatever meat you're using, in through the sausage meat. And what that does is give it that kind of slightly bouncy texture that you get from like a nice breakfast sausage. And that's what you're looking for. It'll become one nice mass. It'll be a little bit sticky to the touch, and it won't be all broken up. So from that, we need to keep around 150 grams that we can use to cook into like kibble. And then from the rest of it, we'll split it into 4 to make 4 patties, around 80 grams a piece. So take our patty, roll them into a nice tight ball, throw them from one hand to another. What that does is try and work any air pockets out, and then form into a nice patty, roughly the size, about 1 centimeter bigger than your English muffins are. And that way when they shrink, you still have a patty that forms the whole, fills the whole sandwich. Use a piece of baking paper between the 2 patties to make sure they don't stick together. We're gonna cover this with cling film, leave it in the fridge, labeled and dated. It'll last in the fridge 4 or 5 days, no problem at all. Right, sausage in the fridge. Let's cook some tomatoes. Now, I've called these confit tomatoes, but that's kind of funny and not actually technically correct. Confit is a term that's used for when you cook usually a meat product in its own fat. Not really possible to cook a tomato in its own fat. I'm sure there is fat in a tomato, but I don't think it's very much. However, we will cook some tomatoes and we'll still call them confit, and someone will get frustrated in the comments and it'll be funny. It'll be funny, I'm telling you. It's like a large oven tray. We're gonna put a decent drizzle of olive oil all over the bottom, and we're gonna preheat our oven to 150 degrees Celsius. We've got some nice Roma tomatoes here. I'm gonna cut them in half. If you wanna be really fancy, you take the core out as well. Well, not the core, just that top bit there. We're gonna start them flesh side up. Now we're gonna season these on this side with salt, black pepper. Then we take some garlic cloves and a fine grater, and we just grate it all over the top. Now, you're gonna find that this garlic doesn't really come out that evenly. It's not like you're grating nutmeg or something that's gonna evenly distribute, but don't stress. I'll show you why in a second. So now, we're gonna use our hands to really get all that oil and that salt evenly distributed over all the tomatoes. This is real like breakfast shift at a restaurant vibes, brasserie. We used to do brunch only 2 days a week at a restaurant I used to work at in London by Tom Atkins called Tom's Kitchen. And it was, not gonna lie, it was not our favorite service. But we used to have to do like racks and racks of things like this. So now, to cook these, we're actually gonna flip these over so that they're flesh side down now. And into that 150 degree oven for 30 to 35 minutes. And they're good to go. Tomatoes are done. I'm gonna take them out, let them cool, then we're gonna put them in containers, label them in the fridge. All right, whipped feta. Now, the reason why I love having whipped feta in my fridge for meal prep is because it's kind of easier to kind of get out a little bit. And I just like the texture better than kind of the straight feta. So into a food processor, add your feta cheese, a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, the yogurt, and the juice of about half a lemon. Don't add some salt until you've started mixing it. You might not need any depending on how salty your feta is. Taste it before you pull it out. That needs nothing else. Pull it out in a container, label on it, in the fridge, 4 to 5 days, no problem at all. Right, next we're gonna make some Zhug, which is a green kind of spicy condiment, which is perfect for breakfast, but I think it's just a good condiment to have at all times. And it's really easy to pull together. I've got a couple of large green chilies into a blender. You absolutely could do this by hand. It'll just take a while. A couple of cloves of garlic, some toasted cumin seeds. Then the juice of a lemon, pinch of salt, about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2, 3. I should probably test one day how good I am at that. I suspect not very. So we're gonna start this off first. Just gonna get this part going. Now we're gonna add a decent handful of parsley. You can kind of leave the stalks and all, it's fine, it's just gonna get blended. And the same with coriander. The trick is you don't want this like really wet, which is kind of hard to do because it gets stuck in your blender a bit. So use as little oil as possible at this point. If you need to add a little bit of oil to let it loosen down a bit, obviously you can, but the idea is that it's a bit stiffer than, I guess, like a normal sauce. There you go. Put it into a container, label it, in the fridge. That'll last a week, no problem at all. Delicious condiment that's great for lots of different dishes, but I think works especially well with eggs. All right, relish. One of those things that everyone just buys, but is really, really easy to pull together. What we're gonna do is finely cut 1 brown onion. Into a saucepan, you're gonna add about a tablespoon of olive oil, and once it's hot, you're gonna add the onion. You're gonna add a pinch of salt, and then you're gonna sweat it down for 3 or 4 minutes. While that's going, we're gonna dice up 4 Roma tomatoes, then add the tomatoes to the onions, along with the brown sugar, red wine vinegar, celery salt, and the ground coriander. Stir well. Continue to cook over a medium-low heat for 25 to 30 minutes. Once it's completely cooled, into an airtight container, labeled, dated, into the fridge, and that'll last for 2 weeks, no problem at all. So our bone broth is fully cooked, and I've slowly released the valve. It was on the highest setting, I turned it down to the next highest, and then all the way till it opened out. All the pressure's gone, and we have a lovely looking broth. So you might be saying, Andy, what's the difference between a stock and a bone broth? I'm glad you asked. Long story short, basically there's more bones when you're making bone broth, so it's usually got a bit more flavor. Just gonna pass it through a fine sieve, make sure we get any of the either bones or anything out, into an airtight container, into the fridge, It'll last a week, no problem at all. If you've made lots and you're not gonna get through it all, chuck it in the freezer. Eggs. Great way to save time during the week is to have your boiled eggs ready to go. They're gonna last 2 or 3 days in the fridge, no problem at all. They'll actually last longer. They just might start going a bit gray, which can be off-putting to some people. Doesn't bother me. So I'm after like a jammy egg here. So we've got a big pot of water. It's just lightly simmering, just little bubbles. I'm gonna submerge 6 eggs for 6 minutes. After 6 minutes, we're gonna take them out, plunge them into ice cold water, and let them cool completely for at least 10 minutes. All right, almost finished our prep. Next up, we need to do some potatoes for hash. Real simple, we're gonna get a waxy potato, we're gonna peel them and dice them into a roughly 4cm cubes into some boiling salted water and cook for about 5 to 6 minutes until they're par cooked. Remove from the water and leave them to cool at room temperature. Then into a container, labeled and in the fridge until we need them later in the week. So our relish has been cooking for about 30 minutes now. You can cook it as long as you want really. If you want it a lot drier, you can continue cooking it to continue reducing it. Just make sure you keep tasting it in case it gets a bit salty. But for me, that is perfect consistency. Into a heat-proof jar, because it's still hot. Lid on, label, dated, and in the fridge. And if your jar is sanitized like this one is, that'll last a month, 2 months in the fridge, no problem at all. Okay, your eggs are nice and cold. There's a couple of options here. What I prefer to do is actually just to leave them whole and put them in the fridge like that. You can, if you want to, peel them today and leave them in the fridge, but I feel like they hold a lot better if you leave them in the fridge whole like that. Make sure you label it that it's a cooked egg, not a raw egg. You might have a surprise when you go and try and make some muffins. So berry compote is super easy to make, and it's a great way to get some fruit into your diet. 500 grams of mixed frozen berries, a couple of tablespoons of maple syrup onto the heat, and then you're gonna add the juice of a lemon. So we're not making jam, it's quite a bit different. We got a lot less sugar. We don't need to kind of cook the sugar to a certain point. All we're basically doing is letting these berries defrost, slightly stew, and seasoned with the maple syrup and the lemon. Once that's done, into a container, let it cool completely before you put a lid on it, and then label into the fridge, and that'll last in the fridge for 5 days, no problem at all. Okay, we're gonna make our own granola. This is one of those recipes that sometimes, not always, I will make big batches of this and keep it at home. You might be thinking, Andy, you're off your head. I'm not making my own granola. I'm just gonna buy it. And that's fair. The thing that I like about making my own granola is I can control the levels of stuff that I have in there, because a certain someone in my house doesn't really like dried fruit, or raisins in particular, so I can kind of leave those out. So rolled oats, pepitas, blanched almonds, coconut, olive oil, maple syrup, you can also use honey, and salt. Probably season it like you almost would like a savory dish, as opposed to a sweet dish. Now clean hands, we're just gonna bring that all together, make sure it's all nicely coated onto an oven tray, spread it out evenly, then you're gonna put it in the oven at 150 degrees Celsius. It's probably gonna take about 30 minutes in total, but you don't really wanna leave it for more than 5 or 6 minutes. Every 5 or 6 minutes, open the oven, toss the granola well, and put it back in. That way you're gonna get a really nice even toast. All right, once your granola is completely chilled, well not chilled, but cold, not hot anymore, into an airtight container, label on, but don't put it in the fridge. And that's all the prep done on Sunday. Time to go and start your meal prep for your dinner. Time to put your feet up, do your washing, whatever else you do on a Sunday. Get ready for the week. We'll see you first thing in the morning for our first of our 5 meals. All right, Monday morning, we're gonna have a bone broth with vermicelli noodles, a jammy egg, some spinach. Does not take long to pull together. First things first, we need our bone broth to start heating up. We're gonna take our serving dish and we're gonna put some spinach in the bottom. And the heat from the broth is gonna wilt this, no problem at all. Once our broth comes up to a boil, we're gonna add some vermicelli noodles, and we've got one of our jammy eggs. We're gonna crack that open and peel it. You're gonna pop your egg on top of the spinach. We're gonna season our broth with just a little bit of fish sauce. Once those noodles are cooked, over they go, over the spinach. A little bit of fresh spring onion, some fresh chili, coriander if you got some lying around, and a nice squeeze of lime juice or lemon juice. Now it might seem unusual to have a bowl of hot soup for breakfast, but it's very commonplace, especially in most of Southeast Asia. Caitlin lived off this stuff when we were in Thailand for Christmas. And there you go. Some bone broth, vermicelli, a jammy egg and fresh herbs. Great way to start Monday. It's Tuesday, so I deliberately made this one easy because we all know Tuesdays are the worst day of the week. So we've got some sourdough toast. I've got some lovely wholemeal stuff here, nicely toasted. Then we get our whipped feta. Be generous, this ain't Jenny Craig. Then our confit tomato, 2 or 3 pieces, depending how hungry you are. I do like odd numbers on plates though, so we're going 3. If it's summertime, I'd leave the tomato cold. If it's winter, Feel free to heat it up in the oven or just give it a quick nuke in the microwave. Get a bit of that tomato juice on there as well. And then some nice dollops of our Zhug. Toasted sourdough, whipped feta, confit tomato, and Zhug. And if you're after some extra protein, chuck a jammy egg on there. That's what I mean about being adaptable. Some days you're in a hurry and you got to get out and eat the toast in the car on the way. And other days you're hungry. You had a big session in the gym, bit of extra protein, put a bit of sausage on there as well. Delicious. All right, it's Wednesday, my dudes. And for breakfast this morning, I reckon we're gonna have a little hash, some fried egg, a little bit of crumbled breakfast sausage, some spinach and some chili crisp. Large pan on the heat, medium high, about a tablespoon of olive oil in. So what we're gonna do with this dish is cook everything in the one pan, but not at the same time. So we're gonna have to like layer things up. So we think about in what order we want it on the plate. So I don't wanna create too many dishes. First things first, we want the hash on the bottom. So once the oil's up to temperature, we've got our potato that's par cooked. We're gonna add that to the center of the pan. Then we're gonna season them with a little bit of salt. Now we're gonna take a protein press and some parchment paper, and we're gonna squash these potatoes into the pan. Stunning. So I'm gonna turn the temperature down to kind of like medium, because we don't want it too hot. What we're trying to do is turn this into like one nice crusty hash so that we can flip over. Crusty. Okay, once we think we've got a good crust on the bottom, feel free to add a little bit more oil if you need to. Pull your hash out onto your plate. Now to the pan that the potatoes just come out, we're gonna add the breakfast sausage, but not the patty, just the stuff that we had left over. Crumble it up into little pieces and just let it cook for about 3 minutes on one side. Once it hits the pan, don't move it. All right, give you a little pieces of sausage a toss. Hang on. Cut that. Move the sausage around the pan a little bit. Then you're gonna add a big handful of baby spinach to the pan. Let that wilt down. Now the trick is with spinach like this, we don't want it to be completely wilted. If it goes completely wilted, it's gonna put heaps of liquid on the plate and destroy our lovely crispy potatoes. So that goes on next. And finally, we're just gonna fry an egg for the top. Final touch, a little bit of chili crisp. There you go, potato hash, breakfast sausage, some wilted spinach, fried egg and chili crisp. It's a good start to your Wednesday. So one of the most classic meal prep breakfasts there ever was and ever will be is the overnight oats, and it's delicious and it works super well. It's really easy to pull together. So we're gonna eat these on Friday. It's Wednesday today, so we're gonna get it ready. I think your most ideal time for overnight oats to be in the fridge is actually 48 hours, not 24, but you can do this anything from 12 hours, it'll be safe for up to 3 days in the fridge, no problem at all. Real simple, oats in a bowl, chia seeds, really good omega fats in chia seeds, some Greek yogurt, maple syrup for sweetness, a little pinch of salt. Get those electrolytes going. Some milk. All right, now we've avoided that disaster. We're gonna, wow. I'm gonna leave that there, remind myself to not be a silly Billy. Give that a little mix. And then I like to use these mason jars because, I don't know, trad wife. Evenly distribute between the two. Make sure you've got an even amount of oats and liquid. Otherwise you're gonna have one dry set and one not dry set. Close them down, put a label on it. Make sure you put the date in the fridge, 12 hours minimum. Up to 4 days, no problem at all. It's Thursday. We're gonna have proper sausage and egg sandwiches. I think a proper sausage and egg sandwich needs to be on a muffin, not a burger. I think the density works way better. So we've got one of our sausage patties per person there. In a pan that goes. We're gonna cook it for about 3 minutes each side or until it's fully cooked. It's pork, sausage. Obviously we can't have that medium rare. All right, next to that, we're going to fry an egg. We're gonna do our egg over easy.
The correct way to have eggs.
The correct way to have a sandwich egg. We're gonna toast our muffin. All right, so I've got some Gruyere cheese here. We're gonna cut just nice little slices that we're just gonna put on top of our egg as soon as we flip it for the residual heat to just slightly melt it. All right, decent amount of our tomato relish on both sides. Breakfast sausage on the bottom. We talked about before making it slightly bigger than our muffin. That way when it cooks, it's gonna shrink a bit and be the perfect size. Over easy egg, the Gruyere cheese, top it off. Now that is a breakfast sandwich. You can keep your bacon, egg and cheese. I'll take that any day. All right, and I've saved the best for last because this is genuinely something I eat quite a lot, especially when I'm going to play golf. I like to get this ready the night before, and then I don't really like eating as soon as I wake up, and I usually leave early. So I'll make it like this. I'll pull my oats out of the fridge. I'll put the compote on top, pretty generously as well, mainly because I've got a sweet tooth. And then just for some really nice texture, a decent amount of granola. Delicious. So there you go, overnight oats with chia seeds, berry compote, and homemade granola. Big fan of this for breakfast. So there you go. That's how I meal prep breakfast. But what I like to do is cook a whole bunch of stuff and then just pick and choose as I'm going throughout the week, because sometimes I don't feel like oats. Sometimes I don't feel like tomato, I feel like mushroom. You have the basics in your fridge, you pick and choose as you want, and you'll never get bored, and you'll always have a delicious start to your day. Have a good week. See you next time.